Hi there. This is going to be a rainbow geode, step by step. We have our base painted cup, just doing a little one. It's got a couple of spots where I had to sand off my epic fail the first time around, but that's okay. I'm going to cover it up. I've got all my glitters. I only have 6 colors set aside. I'll show you in just a second. Unless I find an indigo in my stash, I'm going from blue to purple. I'm going to have to skip the indigo. Got Mod Podge here. I like to put mine in a little cup just so that you don't contaminate your big jar with glitter. I was going to try and do this with thick epoxy, but it's just not going to work. It's going to take too long. Since I'm using chunkies, I'm going to put this on pretty thick. If you're using a fine glitter, let me assure you, every streak of thicker Mod Podge will show in your fine glitter. Ask me how I know. That's why this has been sanded off, because it was an epic fail. So let me just run through the colors really quickly. We're going to use 3 different companies here, just because that's what I have, and I finally found the other colors I wanted. So this one is from Franz, Cupid Shuffle. It's a beautiful red. It's not really holographic. It just has a little bit of red and orange shift to it. For the orange, we're going to do Simple Beginnings Tag. Back to Franz. This is Rainbow 5. It's really pretty. It has a slight holographic vibe, but it's not that bad, so I don't think it's really going to be a problem. This one, again, is from Simple Beginnings. It has a little bit different cut than all the rest of them. It doesn't have quite as big of hex in there, but that's okay. For what I'm using it for, it should still be pretty perfect. This one doesn't have a name on it. It's called Weemawa, like in the jungle, the mighty jungle, that kind of Weemawa. This company does Friends references for their glitter colors, and that is Marcel's favorite song. So for the blue, we're going to use Blue Jean Night. This one is from glittercraze.com. I've ordered a couple colors from them too. I like them. I like how you have the option for shakers on some of them, but all of Franz are automatically in shakers. Simple Beginnings, you have your choice of bag or shaker, and I do believe that Glitter Craze all comes in shakers as well. It's a nice non-holographic blue. And then for the purple, we're going to do Aladdin Chunky from Franz. It's really pretty. Also, not really a holographic shift. The only one with a little holographic vibe is the orange and yellow, and I'm okay with that. For what I'm doing, it should be totally fine. So we are going to go nice and thick, and I'm going to cover up right here. I'm just going to kind of pat it on there. We're going to do one color at a time, and we're going to let it dry completely, brush off the excess, and then seal it with clear coat. I want to make sure all these spots that I have sanded here get covered with a dark color. So like the red or the blue or the purple or the green. Definitely not the orange or the yellow, because I think they're going to be slightly transparent. It's really easy to accidentally make this look a little phallic. So just kind of be aware of the shape that you're doing if you're worried about that. I'm just putting it on here kind of as evenly as I can. I normally prefer to apply glitter with epoxy, but I just don't think that that's going to be feasible this time around. I may work on that in another tutorial when I have more time to tinker with it. So we're just going to go ahead and glitter that. After all this is said and done, we'll go over it with a paint pen. Not on our final coat of epoxy, but towards the end. We'll outline in between the 2 colors. I like how my mixes have fine and chunky, because the fine is going to fill in those holes right there. Any gaps in between the thicker stuff, the fine will pick up for us. Yeah, So like that. So now we're going to go this way. This one I'm going to make a little rounder. Take it around the bottom. You can do this with a silicone brush, your finger, honestly. Whatever works for you. My thing though is getting it on here thick enough in a way that the glitter will just kind of settle into it. Those edges right there are so tough. It's my least favorite part about cups is right here, that edge. When you use epoxy to apply glitter, you can tap it down. If you do that with Mod Podge, it tends to fall off. So that's what we're gonna do. That's all we're gonna do for right now. I'm literally gonna set this down right here. I'm gonna put my Mod Podge in a little baggie so that it doesn't dry out. And I'm gonna go inside, let everything dry, and then wash off my paintbrush. I've gotten really bad about letting them dry on accident. So I'll clean all this up in a little while. I wanna make sure that I don't need to touch up any spots first. So this is dry. So what we need to do now is brush off the excess glitter, and then we're gonna go clear coat it. So just take a dry, clean brush. This is just a brand new cheapy one that I normally use for wood grain. Just kind of get that off of there, all the way around. There, that's pretty good. So now I'm going to go clear coat it just with Krylon. And that's it. And then we'll get going on the other colors, but we'll do those in fast mode. Okay, so since we have our second color now, I wanted to point out that we need to make sure and brush off any of that second or third or whatever the next color is. Brush it off of your previous colors before you clear coat it. So we're just gonna kind of brush that off of here, like that. I've already brushed it off of that. I actually already brushed it off of here as well. You can kind of see the little beads of clear coat on there. That'll eventually, after many coats, it'll eventually kind of level out. It's fine. That's it. So I wanted to just point out, make sure and brush off any excess off of the previous color before clear coating. Otherwise, it's pretty much stuck there. And I'll have to do a couple of touch-up spots. There's just every once in a while a little spot that didn't quite grab hold. I didn't get it in there right. But overall, it's covering pretty decent. This is clearer than I wanted it to be, but I think it's still going to be fine. I'm going to do yellow here, and then the darker colors will probably hide that logo pretty good. Yeah, so I'm just going to go spray this. I said Krylon earlier. I actually used Rust-Oleum 2X for almost everything. I feel like it covers a little bit better than Krylon, depending on what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm going to go clear coat that, and then I'll do the green after that dries. All right, so this is dry. We added this morning. I'm gonna go spray it with clear coat, and then I will let that dry, and I'll add my first layer of epoxy. So because this is so chunky, I may actually go ahead and add just 1 or 2 little touch-up spots that I don't think the paint pen will camouflage. But I'm gonna go brush this off. The whole point of brushing it is to get these little extra pieces off of here. You can kind of see the silver right there. Brushing it gets that off. And then we're gonna clear coat it. If I was to clear coat it right now, all of this that isn't supposed to be there would be locked in place. So I'm gonna finish brushing that off. I'm gonna Mod Podge and touch up just a couple of spots that the paint pen won't cover. And we're gonna clear coat it, and then we will start our first layer of epoxy. All right, so we have this clear coated, dry. The Mod Podge has been drying underneath all of that for a couple of days. I didn't want to risk putting epoxy over this and sealing in any moisture. I apologize for the way I sound right now. I'm having an allergy attack and it's not pleasant. So everything should be nice and dry in there. I've seen people post where they had moisture in there and it just made a soft spot. The epoxy never cured. So I've got plenty mixed up. We're going to put it on here real thick, and I'm going to come back out here in the morning and do another thick coating, and then sand it down. I also like to razor blade any of my stray wild pieces, which I don't have very many right now because I was able to pat most of them down through the process. But we are just going to put this on here nice and thick, and then come back out here in the morning. So because this edge is so chunky right here, I'm actually going to save some of this and let it thicken, and then I'm going to dab it on there to give me a little bit better cushion, coverage. Not really sure what I want to call it. I feel like once it's thicker, it'll kind of stay on there. My edges here, those are my biggest challenge for pretty much any cup that I make. So we're going to do that. We'll come back in the morning and do it one more time, and then I'll show y'all what it looks like after that second coat of epoxy. And I'm putting this on nice and thick. It's pointless to put a thin coating on here because it's not really going to be that helpful. So nice and thick, and then we'll be back in the morning to do another one, and then after that coating, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we are sanded. There's a few kind of rougher spots right around the edges and a few here and there throughout, but that's okay. I think they're going to be covered fine with the final layer of epoxy. There's a couple of stray spots here, so you can see I did not clearly seal this color here as well as I thought I did, because whenever you're rubbing it, doing your epoxy, smoothing it out, kind of flicks some of them loose. Right here, I kind of tested it out to make sure that the gold didn't look really weird on this color combo. I decided to go ahead and go with gold because I wanted it to stand out away from the silver. So now you get to just doodle. So you want to go right along the edge, and it's okay that it's not straight because the rocks won't be. And that's how you're actually going to hide where the colors overlapped, where you didn't want them to. Just nice and slow. All the way around between each color. All right, so here we are ready for our final step. I went ahead and put a clear coat over the marker because I don't know if it'll bleed under epoxy, and I didn't want this to be my way of finding out. So I just threw a fairly thin layer of just Rust-Oleum over it. I'm pretty happy overall. There's a few things I'll change for next time, but overall I like it. This is pretty much what I had pictured, except for those two colors right there, yellow and orange. So I've got some epoxy mixed up. It's got lots of air bubbles, but I'll torch it in a little while. If this part of the video is interrupted, it is so windy outside, I could end up in Oz. It is so bad. The doors like yank out of your hand kind of wind. So I don't need to do a super thick coat for this go around. Oopsie, I dripped it. But I do want it a little on the thicker side because I do have those bumps that I mentioned just a few minutes ago that I'm hoping will be camouflaged in this final coat. And if they're not, I'll sand it and do one more final thin coat. But I won't know that until later today when I can handle it. And I know this looks like I have a big bulge right there. That's actually just the shape of the cup. You probably noticed it at the beginning of the video, but every once in a while somebody comments that I use too much epoxy, and it's, I think the only couple of times it's happened have been on shapes like this. I'm actually paranoid that I don't have that on good. It's good. Man, that wind is bad. Golly. Again, this doesn't have to be super thick if you've got it sanded pretty smooth. It's really hard to get chunky glitter super smooth on Mod Podge method, in my opinion. I typically prefer all glitter application with epoxy, but that's not always feasible. Yep, this is going to take one more coat by the time it's all said and done. I can't get all that perfectly smooth right there on the edges. There are a few spots that I didn't have enough epoxy, and so I sanded the color off. It's super duper minimal. It's literally on like 3 or 4 pieces of glitter right there and right there. Not the end of the world. All right, so that's all there is to it. Hopefully that is helpful on some project that you have coming up. Again, colors used, I'll put them right after this. I've got a still photo that I'll throw after this. We did Cupid Shuffle, Tag, Rainbow Number 5, Weemawa, Denim Nights, and Aladdin Chunky. And I'll have all the link to the sellers for those. I mean, you may have something super close, who knows, but if you're looking for colors, then these just happen to be the colors you're looking for. Got those links for you. There is a $5 referral code that I'll link as well to Fran's. If you use that and you're a first-time customer, you'll get $5 off. I get $5 also, but I don't use those because I only use the ones that I actually accrue with my own money. I feel like I have an unfair advantage. And the new customer code for Fran's is new 2020 or something. It's at the top of the page. For the Simple Beginnings glitter, her code is newcomer. I've got all that coming in the description as well. And then the one for Glitter Craze, I don't think they have a new customer code, but I think they do have a rewards program set up for that. I don't think there's like a referral or anything where you'll get a coupon code, but you can accrue points. So Anyways, overall, pretty good. Just a few stray glitters over here. Got a little spot right there where I didn't get it covered in the paint pen, but just a couple pieces. Overall, pretty good, and I'm happy with it. So if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments. I'll be glad to try and answer anything that I can. Have a good one.